might be doing her job there.
I object to that too because she's not a doctor. She's allowed to have a difference of opinion in both doctors.
All right.
And she's allowed to object to not to agree with both of them.
All right, so you might sustain that viewer's objection.
I sustain that one. I super object to her being a good mother. Super one.
All right. Mike Brooks, what do you think?
I'm going to have to overrule because I think what the prosecution is trying to do, trying to get to the heart of the matter. Why, if it was so eminent, why did you wait the number of more days to take your child to get to the pediatrician for a second opinion? Take it right the next day. You call the doctor up, you say, hey, you got an emergency, I need a second opinion. And the doctor would have taken you in.
Okay, I'm sensing a lot of agreement between Mike and Joanna here. You guys are softening. I don't know what's going on here. You guys are definitely.
We're not softening. This is a child, and the child in the best interest of the child standards are the one that we as officers of the court always uphold to.
All right, well, let's go to the third one. You may have noticed that the defendant is sitting in front of the defense table. Now, he's there for security purposes, but look at the empty chair sitting in front of the other table. Prosecutor Christine Kowal put it there to represent the victim in this case, Jamar Pinckney Jr.
18th, 1994, from the womb of his mother.
All right, Sharon objected to that tactic, and she writes, I don't think it is the prosecution's right to place the empty chair of Jamar Jr. next to the defense attorney, making the defendant, Jamar Sr., sit across the table and therefore unable to converse with his lawyer. That's a very interesting point. Mike, what do you think about that?
I don't have a problem with it. She was making a point that the little boy is not there because he was killed by his father. So I don't have a problem with that. If the defense had a problem with that, why didn't they object to it?
Okay,
That's
now,
the problem.
Joanna, go ahead. What do you think? Because I'll tell you this, Joanna. The defense in this case said that that's kind of Christine Kowal's tactic. That's kind of how she does her cases. What do you think?
Doesn't make it right, makes it highly, and underneath this, we have a second sign, and it says prejudicial. That's highly prejudicial. That's grounds for an appeal. I like anyone listening, I love that appeal because that is so wrong, that is so prejudicial. An empty chair? Are you kidding me? Where's the judge? Yeah, you're right. Where is the objection? It's not here. Completely wrong, inappropriate, wrong. Yes, you do have a dead child, which is horrible, but you don't do an empty chair. What do you gain from that? This man does not have a fair trial. This man's got nothing there. Nothing.
All right, Joanna, strong feelings on that one. All right, now let's go on to the fourth one here. Alan, one of our viewers, took on the entire case, and he says, I object to the whole trial. He admitted to killing his son. He should just go to jail for the rest of his life since there is no death penalty in Michigan. Alan making that point. Joanna, what do you think?
I would say that is duly noted, and I have a sign for that one too. That's duly noted that he feels that way, but that's what we have a justice system for. Because people are innocent until proven guilty, and this is called a crime of passion case. So that is, we're doing a level of a mental defect position here in this case. That is why we have a case. You don't go directly to jail. This is not Monopoly.
All right. You know what, Mike? What do you think?
No, it's part of the criminal justice system. He has, he has the right to due process, and I might feel that he's guilty of murder, but he still has his right to his day in court. All
right, you guys, so good to hear from you on this one. Great responses to our viewers' objections. Now let's take a look at his statement. You remember the question a little while ago that we just talked about that empty chair. Now here's a statement from the Wayne County Deputy Sheriff on Michigan versus Pinckney. It says, to answer everyone's question about why Pinckney Sr. is sitting where he is. Now this is different from the question about the chair sitting in front of Christine Kowal. This is why you see the defendant right there sitting in front of the defense table. They say, this is the statement here. It's for security purposes. Defendants who are in lockup sit there to make it harder to escape and to protect him from harm from spectators who may want to harm him. Now, if you remember, and I want to ask Joanna quickly about this, the gallery itself is actually a little bit, I think, to the right of the defendant, and they're all sitting together. So there's not a lot of separation like you might see in a lot of courtrooms. What do you think, Joanna? Do you agree with that? Do you think there's some danger to the defendant there?
Well, if you thought someone was dangerous, you put them a little closer. And you want to know something? As jurors, we all know that looks mean a whole lot. So now they separated this man from his defense team with the prosecutor, and he's separated by himself. Again, empty chair and a man alone. Okay, there's another justice occurring there. There's no prejudice in that. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. he'll find guilty. Have a nice day.
Wow, very interesting point. And Mike, what do you think? Because basically you got him sitting right there.
Yeah.
It looks like it's he's right in the center of the courtroom, and it kind of draws the jury's eye.
It does. I don't like it. I've never seen that before. That's why you have officers and deputies in the courtroom for court security, and they carry tasers. And that's to keep disorder in the court. I don't like him sitting out in front there.
I got to agree with both of you guys. Having him right out there does seem like it could be grounds for an appeal. I think that's a great point.
And in court up here, by the way, in New York, when I'm in court, they actually even cover people's hands with their jackets if they have handcuffs on them, so as not to prejudice the jury. And now they have a man sitting by himself. We have officers, as Mr. Brooks said, for protection there. And to send him aside, it's almost like we're way back in the 17th or 18th century of saying, look, here the gallows, look at this, look at this, look at here, look at the person sitting there ready for your judgment. That's what that looks like. Send them apart. That's horrible.
It could end up as grounds for appeal in this trial.
Yep,
Joanna, thank you so much. Mike, thank you so much as well. And viewers, thank you for sending in all those great important comments and objections. And just keep answering the question, by the way. What do you object to in this trial? If you have something you object to as you're watching this trial, email us at InSession@CNN.com and write "I object" in that subject line, or write your blog comments to us at CNN.com/InSession. Well, Jamar Pinckney Sr., so we're going to answer some of your questions right now. And joining us, criminal defense attorney Joanna Greenwald, in-session law enforcement contributor Mike Brooks. Also with us, Dr. Stacey Kaiser. She's with us from L.A. She's a psychotherapist. And thank you all for joining us. Let's go right to our callers. Tanya in Tennessee. How you doing, Tanya?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good, Tanya. So what are your thoughts?
My thoughts to this whole situation is what was going through your mind when you pulled the trigger.
What was going through James Pinckney Sr.'s mind when he pulled the trigger? We want to address that with Dr. Kaiser, but Tanya, I understand that you had a similar experience to what's happening in this trial. What are you seeing here that bothers you?
The whole situation. It bothers me that she was raped. I was raped by the same person, my brother. And my dad and them carried me to the hospital like they supposed to. The hospital notified the correct people. We was taken out of home immediately, me and my brother. And he was older than me, and I was younger. And it just the whole situation bothers me. I don't understand how he could do that, because I was done the same thing. My dad didn't kill my brother. Didn't nobody in my family kill him, as a matter of fact. It wasn't like that. And I think they should have talked it out. And I did go to counseling. He went to counseling. We did the correct procedures of it, not killing. I don't understand that.
All right. Tanya, thank you so much for sharing your story, and thank you for that call. And Dr. Kaiser, Tanya's mentioning two things. First of all, the defendant's state of mind. What was he thinking? And then also the fact that the hospital, maybe they should have done more here. But let's talk about the defendant's state of mind. We're seeing him testify this afternoon. What goes through a man's mind to kill his...
And on a mental level, what he's thinking is that he is focused and that he is determined to make his son pay for what he did.
Okay, so focused. And Joanna, I heard you say you didn't agree.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Because in this case, number one, insanity first should have been pled as far as his justification defense. And then if they've not found not for insanity, secondarily should have been a crime of passion, where you have a triggering event, where it's a traumatic event. He just found out that his son allegedly raped his child, his little girl. So that with his irrationality, there is a rational behavior in his head. In his head, there is rationality. He was getting rid of a monster. It's not his son anymore. It's a monster. It's not his child. It's a monster that he is stopping. Well, just like we have a telephone call that we discussed before where I ended it. Literally, he ended it. He ended the monster. The monster can't get his baby girl anymore. So that's what's happening, is that there's rationality within the irrationality. The premeditation, yes, absolutely, with what the doctor said. You could have a premeditation in the irrationality and rationality at the same time.
All right, I want to go to our next caller. We got Dedrick in Texas with us right now. Dedrick, what are your thoughts? What do you think, and what would you ask Jamar Pinckney Sr.?
I guess if I could ask him a question, first of all, thank you for having me on. I would ask Jamar Pinckney Sr., what, if anything, could his son have possibly have said that day to stop him from ending his life? What could he have said in his defense that would have not caused him to go as far as he did?
To stop him, because he was kneeling, he was pleading, at least if you believe Monique Cherry, he was pleading, no, Daddy, no, don't do it, Daddy, I'm sorry.
Right. We teach our kids to, be honest and not lie. And even though he probably tried to minimize the story or kind of lie about it a little bit, eventually he said, okay, I did do some things that were inappropriate. Let me go ahead and be honest. And then I'm standing up and I'm facing the music with the help of my parents. And now the person that I look up to the most, the person that I love the most, has not only beaten me senseless, but is stripping me and dehumanizing me. And what else can I say and do at this point? I want to ask the dad, what could your son have done? Is there anything he could have done or said that would have changed your mind and your actions of that day?
All right, Dedrick, thank you for that call. Mike Brooks, that's a really good point.
It is. His son. He killed his son. It's not like someone he didn't know. He was totally detached from. But he did. He totally humiliated him, took his clothes down, beat him, and took him out in the side yard and shot him in the face. His own son.
He was Abraham taking care of what God's.
No, it was Pinckney Sr. killing
work.
Pinckney Jr. That's the story.
All right.
And,
that might have been in his head, doing God's work.
No.
All right, I want to
Get
go to
rid
our
of the
last, you guys,
monster.
before we go forward, I want to go to our last caller just to make sure we get it. And Susan in Iowa is with us. Susan, what do you think?
I don't understand because, I'm a mother, and if my child is begging, what I would ask him, if he's begging, no, Daddy, no, how could your heart put a gun, execute him like that? He had 12 hours to think about it before he did it. That's meditation in my mind.
Okay, Susan, thank you so much for that call. Dr. Kaiser, I want to address that point with you. Jamar Jr. is on his knees begging. We heard Jamar Sr. and other witnesses testify about how he loved his son. So take us through the thought process here, because you've got a man who loves his son. His son is begging for mercy as he's stripped down, and his father shoots him and kills him anyway, execution style.
Foster care. Why isn't that child in foster care?
Joanna, that's you saying, why isn't he in foster care?
Why isn't foster care have been involved from the very beginning? And if the call had been originally come in as it was said, foster care originally would have taken that child right away until this case would have been over and watched over that child and dealt with it. Foster care should be involved in this case.
Very difficult situation. Joanna Greenwald, Dr. Stacey Kaiser, Mike Brooks, thank you so much. Thanks for those great calls as well, folks.
Thank you.
Join us tomorrow when Jamar Pinckney Sr. is back on the stand. He'll testify about pulling out his handgun and shooting his own son and what he was thinking in the moments after the boy fell.